A disagreement between St. Tammany Parish President Kevin Davis and the Coast Guard is now growing more bitter.
As he prepares his parish for the remnants of Tropical Depression number 5, Davis and the Coast Guard are at odds over the removal of oil-fighting assets. North Shore Bureau Chief Doug Mouton is just back from an afternoon news conference where Davis called out the Coast Guard. Doug?
Yes, he did, Dennis, and he did that in strong terms. Davis says he feels threatened by Coast Guard Admiral Paul Zukampf if he didn't agree to remove his parish's oil-fighting assets. And Davis says he will not agree to do that.
And Friday, an admiral comes here with no staff, just an admiral, which is very interesting, and to tell me that to sit down and shut up, basically. So my response is I'm not going to sit down and shut up.
The root of the disagreement is an executive order Kevin Davis released on July 22nd not to have any oil-fighting assets removed from his parish. Then last week, Admiral Zukampf's letter urged Kevin Davis to rescind that order. The letter was forwarded to U.S. Attorney Jim Letton, which Davis took as a threat.
After being threatened by the United States government through the Coast Guard, I'm not willing to release any assets that are in fighting oil.
And Davis says he is willing to be arrested if that's what it takes.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and go on over to the jail and they can come over and get me.
Davis wants all oil-fighting assets to remain until the end of hurricane season. Friday, he and other Louisiana leaders will meet with Thad Allen in Houma in what Davis said should be an interesting meeting. Davis spent parish money to buy Tyvek's environmental suits for first responders to storms in case they must deal with oil mixed in storm waters. The Coast Guard now says they will not reimburse the parish for those suits, and they won't pay for the environmental teams Davis requested. Davis wanted those teams because he believes the oil fight is not over.
So to hear them say that the oil's gone, they cleaned it, they skimmed it, they burned it, is nonsense. There's over 56 million barrels still unaccounted for, and they don't know where it is, but they're trying to tell the American people that it's all gone and it's time to go home. I got to tell you, I am just so angry that he would write such a letter to me. So I have taken the issue with him and told him that my executive order will continue to stand, and let's see what happens next.
St. Tammany will have a team monitoring the remnants of Tropical Depression 5. Kevin Davis said this afternoon it could cause some street flooding on the North Shore, but for now, he doesn't believe it'll be any more serious than that. Now, because of this storm, the Coast Guard did pull 20 of those 31 barges protecting the entrances to Lake Pontchartrain. When those barges will be permanently pulled is now part of this fight. Reporting live on the North Shore, Doug Mouton, Channel 4 Eyewitness News.
All right, Doug, thanks.
The incoming storms are also impacting crews working on the oil spill cleanup and containment efforts. The government's point man on the oil spill response says the relief well drilling is put on hold for 2 or 3 days until the weather passes through. He also says cleanup crews and equipment will be moved until the threat subsides, including boom, which he says could do more harm if kept in the water.
In some cases where the oil is no longer a threat, the boom will be removed. If the boom is out there and it gets driven into the marshes, it can actually cause more damage than if you would remove it. And if there's no threat of oil, what we will do is probably decontaminate it. Some of the boom, if there's oil on it, we'll take that off. There's marine growth that grows on the boom that has to be removed as well. At that point, we'll make it ready for deployment.
In the meantime, Admiral Allen says he plans to leave his position as National Incident Commander by the end of September, but he wants to make sure the well is permanently sealed before he turns the job over to someone else.
Some big trades involving the Hornets. We'll have details on that ahead in sports.
And family and friends say goodbye to a man who played a major role in making the Superdome dream a reality.
Plus, how 2 parents play a role in saving the lives of their 14-year-old twins who were born with a rare genetic condition.